As we saw in the last module, while a child might look at a few hundred pictures to know what a dog is, AI can study millions of them. And while humans might miss small details, AI can spot tiny patterns that even we wouldn't notice. This is the secret to AI's power. It is not necessarily smarter than humans, but it can learn from far more examples than any person could study in their entire lifetime. Now, let me break down the AI learning journey into 4 simple steps that you'll hear about throughout the course. Think of data as the study material. Just like you need textbooks to prepare for an exam, AI needs examples to learn from. For teaching AI to recognize cats, for example, we'd gather thousands of photos where humans have already labeled each one as cat or not cat. Next comes training. This is like an intensive study session. The AI looks at each photo and tries to guess what it is. When it guesses wrong, say dog when the label says cat, it adjusts its internal understanding a tiny bit. This happens millions of times until the AI gets really good at spotting the patterns that make cats different from all other animals. After all that studying, we get a model. Think of this as the AI's brain after it has finished learning. It's no longer just computer code. It's now a complex system that holds all the knowledge about what makes a cat look like a cat. And finally, there is inference. This is the real test. We show our trained model a completely new photo it has never seen before. When it looks at this image and says, that's a cat, that's inference in action. This is where all the training has paid off. The process flows something like this. Gather data, use it for training to build a model, then use that model for inference on new problems. Simple enough, right? Now this process may sound straightforward, but there are so many things that can cause the AI to work in ways you don't want it to. That's because your final dish is only as good as your ingredients. The quality of data you feed into AI directly affects how well it will work. We have a saying in computer programming, garbage in, garbage out. That means if you give AI poor quality information, you'll get poor quality results. Imagine trying to learn history from a textbook full of wrong dates and false facts. You'll end up with completely false ideas about what really happened. The same happens with AI. If it learns from bad examples, it will make bad decisions. Data isn't always arranged in the way that AI needs it to be. It can be messy with typos, mistakes, duplications. The data itself can also be biased. If you're training an AI to recognize cats, but all your example photos show only black cats, the AI might not recognize a white or orange cat because it never learned they existed. Remember, AI has no common sense. It can only work with what you show it. So make sure you show it the best, most balanced information possible. Now, let's start with this word model. You'll hear it all the time. OpenAI released a new model. Google's model can do this. So what is this model thing? The best way to understand it is to think about how a child learns. If you show a child 100 pictures of different dogs, they don't memorize every single picture. Instead, their brain starts to form a general idea, a pattern of what a dog is. They learn the concept of dogness. It usually has 4 legs, probably has fur, almost always has a tail, it barks. This internal concept is the child's model of a dog. An AI model is exactly the same. But it's made of mathematics, not brain cells. It is a complex system of algorithms and mathematical equations that, after being trained on data, holds the patterns and relationships it has learned. It is the knowledge that AI has created. So when we say ChatGPT is a model, we mean it's a massive mathematical structure that has learned the patterns of human language from reading billions of texts. It is not a library of facts, it's a map of how words and ideas connect. Now, this is a crucial point. The model knows patterns, but it doesn't understand the world like we do. It's a pattern matching machine, and its knowledge is only as good as the data that it has learned from. So, we've talked about what a model is and how training is like studying for an exam. But how does a machine actually study? What methods does it use? Just like people have different ways of learning, machines do too. In machine learning, there are three main methods for training a model. To make it simple, let's go back to our story of Priya, the cook who had a recipe instead of a magic box. Because she understood the process, she could control the outcome. First, we have the recipe book method, or what is called supervised learning. This is the most common way. Think of Priya learning from a famous chef's cookbook. The book gives her pictures and exact instructions for thousands of dishes, and she just follows the instructions. The AI learns the same way. We feed it data with all the correct answers, like thousands of photos already labeled cat or dog or something else, and it learns the patterns from there. Now, the second method is the spice box method, or unsupervised learning. Imagine Priya gets a box of unlabeled spices from a remote village market. No one can tell her their names. What does she do? She starts grouping them herself based on their smell and their texture and maybe how they taste. Unsupervised learning is the AI that gets data without any labels, and its job is to find the natural patterns and structures within it. And finally, we have the customer feedback method, which we call reinforcement learning. This is how an AI learns to master a skill like playing a game or controlling a robot. Think of Priya trying to create the perfect cup of chai for her shop. She makes a cup and asks the customer to taste it. If the customer says it's perfect, she gets a reward, and she knows she should repeat the same recipe. On the other hand, if the customer says it's too sweet, that's a penalty, and she knows she needs to adjust the sugar next time. So after thousands of such trials and feedback, she develops the perfect recipe. Reinforcement learning is exactly like that. The AI learns by trial and error, getting rewards for actions that get it closer to its goal. These three methods are crucial in turning AI models into the problem-solving tools that we see today.